Welcome to Market Blaster, where we blow apart the stock market and put it back together so that it makes sense for you. I'm Forbes Markets Editor John Dobis. The news in the market today, all about the Spanish problem. Spanish debt yields have gone the highest they've been in at least 3 years as the government grapples with getting more money to rescue its state-owned bank, Bankia. Problem is, the Spanish government's borrowing capacity isn't that great either, and Bankia needs to be propped up. The ECB rejected Spain's plan for bailing it out. Other news in the macro picture for Spain is not looking good at all. Retail sales are down year over year, more than expected, kind of out of the blue. Registrations for new automobiles also down. The Spanish economy is contracting and may, for the second quarter of this year, turn in negative GDP numbers, and that is not good. People aren't shopping at El Corte Inglés, not doing a whole lot in Barcelona at Las Ramblas. In fact, there's quite a bit of unique pain in Spain. Greece aside, Greece has got its own issues and an election coming up on June 17th to see if it can do something. Can't we just bring in the Sandman? Is there an exit light here anywhere? Bring in Mo. Oh, we brought in Mo. Mariano Rajoy. He's the Prime Minister of Spain. He's the poor guy trying to deal with all these problems. He's got a Twitter account. He was tweeting about the issues today, saying budgets are very austere because the ultimate objective is the healing of public accounts. Keep in mind, Spain has these different provinces that have their own borrowing issues, and the banks are insolvent. The national government is teetering on the brink. The ECB is offering them the chance to go another 2 years to make their 3% of GDP budget deficit target. No response from Rajoy quite yet. But the effect on Spanish stocks has been rather severe and rather punishing. 3.5%, let's call it, in the EWP. That's the ETF that tracks the biggest companies in Spain, the Madrid exchange. Spanish woes are bringing out the bear here in the United States as well. One thing it's doing, look at that here. We got U.S. stocks. This is the S&P 500 index, down more than 1.3% on Wednesday. Not a great thing. You can see that we're down from the highs on April 2nd, about 8 or 9%. The 10-year Treasury note, the yield on that sucker got down to the lowest it's ever been since they kept numbers, since they began issuing the thing in the early 60s. 1.61%. The thing closed out at 1.62%. So borrowing costs are extremely low as people yank their money out of Europe where they don't want to be when the big poop hits the fan, and they're here in dollars. The dollar's been going up, and the yield on the 10-year Treasury has been going down, along with the yield on German bunds, because if they're going to stay in the euro, they're going to stay at least in German bunds to be safe, investors over there are. Over here in the U.S., we've got news on the housing front that's not great. Pending home sales, contracts signed, the sale will be in the future. Those were down 5.5% unexpectedly. That's not great news. It sent the Homebuilding Stocks down almost 3.5%. That's the XHB, which tracks the Homebuilding Stocks. It had made a nice run since October, but kind of getting a little bit out of gas over there lately. Toll Brothers took it hard, down more than 5% on Wednesday, but that stock has been doing far better than its peers in the overall index, so keep an eye on Toll. Lennar, kind of the average home builder out there. LEN, they track the XHB. Where do you go when things are falling apart everywhere? Well, look for things that are holding it together, like a well-rolled burrito. This burrito right here at Chipotle Mexican Grill is doing decently. The stock was down 1.2%, less than the overall market, and it's been quite a strong stock. Look at that run it's made from 300 up to 440, backed off just below 400, back above it now. Intel, it's bucking the trend, is swimming against the tide, up a little bit today, up fractionally, 0.1%. Stock's got a decent 3.2% dividend yield. Also, my man Jim Oberweis does the Oberweis Report, manages a few small cap funds. He had a new report, came out on Friday. One of the stocks in it, Cruz. Remember Victor Cruz dancing and doing a little salsa in the end zone? I'm talking about CRUS, Cirrus Logic, analog and mixed signal semiconductor company. A chart that is a thing of beauty since gapping higher early in 2012. These guys are doing all right, swimming against the tide. CRUS was down 3.2% today, still far above its 10-day moving average. Keep an eye on CRUS, though, Cirrus Logic, looking like a decent stock. And think about what you can do to borrow and put money into maybe stocks, because at 1.61%, man, and an inflation rate of about, true one of about 3.5%, you're going backward every 2 years. You just sit there.